That is right, I am leaving Pleasanton. This is not a drill, and I haven't shaved in a while because of a Halloween murder mystery show, but I might again soon, I don't know. It is kind of nice not having to shave. Let's get on with the subject at hand. Leaving Pleasanton after 13 years, my time here has come to an end. And it's kind of hard to take in, or it's just weird. This has been my life for 13 years. This is the longest I've lived in one place since the home I grew up in. So yeah, 13 years, that's just crazy. Well, it's actually something I've been meaning to do for a long time now. In fact, probably back in 2009 or 10. I moved in 9, and I think even in 10, I started looking to buy another home. I think it would have been my first home, yeah. So this was only supposed to be kind of a temporary thing. In the grand scheme of time, I guess it's temporary. And it's not that I didn't like it here. I loved it here, hence the 13 years. That's why I've been here so long, one of the reasons. Yeah, I started in 2009. Some friends that owned the house had been relocated, working in Taiwan, and offered me the chance to rent it. And I said, all right, let's do this. And I was living in a condo in Dublin, and it just wasn't a great place. It was okay because it was close to the Iron Horse Trail, but other than that, it's like I didn't like living there, and there's some nice things about it, but I was glad to move here. Yeah, so 2010, I was looking to buy a home. I had an agent. Actually, my neighbor was a real estate agent, and we looked around, probably put offers on a half dozen, and that was, the housing market was recovering, but nothing went through. I think I was always just bidding too low. I was bidding too low. Nothing went through. So that kind of ended, I guess, in 2011 or so. I think I kind of stopped really looking the same way. But that said, I did make an offer on a house in Texas in 2012, and that did go through. So next thing I knew, the real estate agent was calling me and saying, congratulations, you bought a house. Like, all right, cool. And I kind of thought about maybe I would live there eventually or right away. I don't know, but I never actually moved there. I haven't even been there, but it's been rented for 10 years now, 11 years. I even got a notice earlier. Said, hey, your rent's come through. Yeah, rent is good. And then in 2013, bought a place in Cap Hill, Seattle. Yeah, I bought a condo in Seattle, so I kind of kept the thing going. I was like, I wasn't going to buy one house a year, but I don't know, for those 2 years I did. I did try for another one, but I just haven't lately found the right one. Yeah, I thought about moving to the Seattle one, but I think the job situation, I didn't have a job up there, so I figured I'll kind of wait. I was only contracting here until 2008, and then I got 2008 would have been before I got. It was around the same time. I got here in 2009, and that was when I started really working for Think HR. And I was still contracting, but the hours kept going, and it was a really good contract. But then in 2012, I got another good contract that was in Vacaville, so I was splitting my time between the two companies, and I think the Vacaville one said, hey, why don't you come work here full-time and move up here and buy a house up here? We'll sell you. It was a house-selling company, a house-flipping company. I thought, that's cool, but then I would be in Vacaville, and I didn't want that, really, so it's like middle of nowhere. So I turned that down, and about a year later, I went to work full-time for the Pleasanton company, and that was a nice commute. I mean, it was just so close. And, at first I didn't even go to the office. I could work from home, but then I went into the office most of the time because it was easier to focus when I'm in the office. And then I became a full-time employee for them in 2014, and from 2014 to 2016, I was pretty much stuck because I was had to be in the office there. And it was a good gig, and then until it wasn't, and then I just, things changed, and I really can't throw the company under the bus. There are some good things about it because if nothing else, they provided me the income to be able to buy the home. So I'm kind of grateful for that. But yeah, in 16, I was unemployed, back to contracting. I had a good chance to go to Seattle then, and I thought about it. I went up there in 17 to kind of really consider it, but then I thought, without the job, I'd rather have the job first and then go up there. So I decided not to. And then in 18, I was doing the teaching for about a year, tutoring. I tried to get back to the teaching business because I did have the master's in English, but I couldn't find a good teaching job. So I tutored for about 6 months, tutoring. And then in 2019, finally got the job with Intuit. And then I was definitely stuck. So the whole year of 2019 was commuting, which is a really bad commute, but went to Mountain View every day, every day. Now, of course, the commute was very tough. I didn't exactly like it. Did a lot of sleeping in the car. But yeah, then COVID happened and it was work from home. So it was like, okay, that was like the best of both worlds. So I got to keep the job and I got to work from home. So that delayed leaving for another 2 years. I really couldn't even, it was hard to travel at first, but I end up traveling a lot. But yeah, the COVID thing, and then ended in 2022, I guess. I mean, I don't know what the status is. Hard to keep up with things. Yeah, for my entire life, I've always had roommates. I've just always had at least one, and then two, and then three. At one time, actually four, but most of the time for here, it's been mostly three. Then that was important because otherwise I couldn't have afforded the rent all by myself, or at least I wouldn't have wanted to, because it's expensive renting a house and then utilities and just everything. It's so nice when you can split it 3 or 4 ways. And of course the rent went up here over the years. I would say probably 50% more over time, which is understandable. It's been 13 years. Of course it's going to go up a little each year to reflect the economy. 2009, yeah, so the economy is now rising and recovering, or has recovered. Been in a bull run for a long time. Bull run for a long time. And I actually did like having roommates for the most part. I think I've gotten pretty lucky. Almost all of them have been pretty good roommates, or at least tolerable. I did have just one person that was just a really bad person. Very selfish person. Never kicked him out. He actually left on his own. Got some sort of settlement, bought himself a house in Modesto and took off, and I was very happy because, yeah, I mean, there are people that weren't good fits, and they're just people like I don't think good people, but it was like, I was so glad that when that happened, yeah, I was like almost cheering. And some roommates stayed like a couple months, some roommates stayed a couple years. I've had roommates that rented for 6 months and never spent one night in the place, and roommates that just never left the house. It's just a whole variety of roommates over the years. So yeah, that's been an adventure. But roommate turnover was never fun because, oh man, it can be a headache. You just have to, once in a while I got a recommendation, which was cool. For the most part, recommendations usually worked out, but yeah, Craigslist, and then you just got to take a big chance, a big risk. Yeah, because there's no like social rating system on Craigslist. It could be anybody. So vetting roommates all the time could be just a headache, and sometimes it turned out great, and other times it's like, not as good. But no serial killers, no one burned down the house, no one got carted off to the police, so I guess in that respect, I did okay. I got lucky. And another huge reason is that everyone else is left. I'm like the last person there. It's like that Twilight Zone episode. Where is everybody? But all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm surrounded by neighbors that have all moved on. And the new neighbors are nice people, but there was more community with the former neighbors. I think there was just more, I guess everyone had things in common. There'd be more porch parties and drinking out of kegs and stuff like that, or playing guitar on the porch. All that's gone. Everybody moved away that was doing that. So yeah, I was like the very last person here out of all the neighbors. My own family moved away. My brother and his family moved out of state, and then my parents moved out of state, and friends have all kind of moved away. So there's like nobody left here, and it's a small town it's a quiet town to begin with. So yeah, that kind of changed too, and that was more incentive. And of course the theaters, a lot of theaters closed during COVID, and some even before COVID, but there are places that I like performing that just those opportunities weren't there. The biggest one, of course, was Three Crosses, or neighborhood church, and that place, I was doing the Christmas stuff, the Easter, the summer musicals, Singing in the Rain, all that. That was fantastic. I think that was such a great opportunity to kind of serve and to have fun, and all that was like done away under the guise of COVID. A lot of people were unhappy about that, including myself, but I was powerless to do anything about it. So losing that was huge, because that was just a big thing. As soon as you were done with summer, you were working on Christmas, and then you were working on Easter, and then looking back, it was just like a yearly thing. And yeah, not that I did all of the productions, but I did a lot of them. That being gone, the local theaters, one's I think gone belly up, and the other one, it's just not as fun anymore. There's been too many changes. So yeah, that's like those reasons are all kind of gone now. And for Pleasanton, as nice as the city is, that's also a problem because it's extremely quiet. It's good here if you're raising a family, but even the neighbors that the kids have grown, they all kind of leave at that point too. So yeah, that's kind of one of the only reasons to really be in a suburb like Pleasanton, is raising a family, good schools and stuff. But then once you're done with that, there's no reason to be here at all. Yeah, Main Street after dark is on a weeknight is dead. I mean, there's a few dive bars, but I don't know if I want to spend too much time there once in a while. But yeah, so there's that too. So with all that going on, why did I even stay this long? How did it get to 13 years? Well, those little reasons where I couldn't leave, the COVID and the work situation. But I actually had been for about 3 or 4 months, really in earnest trying to buy another home. I figured I got the money now. I need to be getting another home. And I was looking in Texas and New York and East Coast, upstate. I don't know. I was looking everywhere. Just like nowhere really in California that I think I want to buy. And then Pacific Northwest. So I had been trying, but I guess what finally led me to to pull the trigger was I got one roommate after 3 years I know I had 3 roommates or 2 roommates. Yeah, and I kind of want to go back to 3 to save some money, whatever, more first class travel, I don't know. And then the roommate I interviewed kind of came in. I didn't vet too well. And it was a nice guy. I mean, he's like, you could talk, and he wasn't like, I don't think he wasn't a bad person, just a really bad fit for the home. And I found that out within the first day. I just thought, I just like wanted to charge his car in the garage and, just a lot of little things. I just thought, this isn't going to work. I mean, I kept a bike in the living room. It's like, this isn't going to work. This isn't what I'm used to. And I kind of find with like he wasn't too old, but I think with older people, they don't always make as good. I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't make a good roommate. They don't make as good of roommates in general. So I just made a big mistake there. I realized that kind of right away, and I thought, well, what am I gonna do now? I can't just ask someone to leave. Say, you're a bad fit. You know, I'm giving you 30 days notice. It's like, I didn't really do too much wrong, and maybe I could have just asked, hey, don't plug in your car. I don't want to charge your car with our electricity bill, or don't put your bike in the living room, or things like that. But I thought it's just time. I thought it's a good deal, because then another roommate had left too after 3 years, and then when she left, I thought, and I had to replace both of them, so taking 2 risks here. So at that point, I just thought, why don't I just leave? This would be it for me. So there were some opportunities for me to make a change, and so I did, and that is how we got to here. Because really, I did not want another 13 years to go by. It's like, it's time now. The time moves by so fast if you let it. If you don't do anything, it'll just keep on moving. I mean, it's going to move anyway, but it just depends on what changes you can make and carry out. So as far as the feelings, it's kind of bittersweet. I'm excited, but I'm also kind of will miss things. I'll miss, well, it's interesting because there was never anything there really huge and monumental that occurred here. No huge relationships, a couple small things, but nothing like really striking. No engagements, no marriages, nothing, no babies born. So nothing really huge took place here. I did do a lot of shows I enjoyed doing. A few parties here and there, some like memorable parties, of course. Good time, game nights, I think like that. The backyard, I always liked the gardening, and then growing the grapes and getting it wasn't quite a winery, but I had a few grapevines growing. The plants and stuff like that. I'll definitely miss the summer. I'll miss the jogging trails. I love jogging. I loved all the places I would go. The city. As I keep exploring, I really like. I live like my summer. I'll miss my 112-degree runs of all things and my heat stroke. Oddly enough, I'll kind of still miss the challenge of running in the 100-degree heat. But yeah, I mean, it's 4 walls, and it was just pleasant, but. Yeah, pleasant house in Pleasanton, but it won't be that hard leaving. I think I'm okay with it. A little bit bittersweet, but yeah. And as far as what's next, I'm moving out of Pleasanton. Where am I moving to? Well, that's coming. I'm going to do another video on that because that's kind of a big thing too. But for now, I just wanted to share that I'm leaving Pleasanton, but who knows what's next? Well, I know what's next, but yeah, you get the picture.